It is. It is a really short supply, and it's deliberately it's that way. It's to sort of see how there we know that POG has fans from the digital side for sure. That there is this fan base of people who are into POGs, but there are some things we don't know whether the NFT collectors translate over to the physical collectors. Then there's also the people who collected POGs 30 years ago who may still collect sports cards today. And when they find out that there is this sort of limited run non-sport POG collection that's coming out.
This week episode is brought to you by none of Secret Supply of Sauce, the best sauce known to mankind and available on shelf anywhere. Even when the freezer is full of sauce, there is still no sauce for you. You want some Nona sauce? Too bad, only Nona decided who gets the sauce.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Season 3, Episode 4 of the Zilly Award-winning Poppin' Mags Pinecast. Mags, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
Now,
is
why
that
you lying to
believable?
us?
I'm lying. Yeah. But the show must go on, Popper.
Yeah, the show must go on. I heard you had a great day yesterday, revisiting the track.
Yeah, it was a long day. Not gonna lie.
Did you pick a winner?
No, I got crushed yesterday. But there was one race where I had 3 bets, and one of them I lost. Well, I lost $100 on one bet, lost $2 on another bet, but then won 102 on the other. So I broke even. That's the best I did.
Oh boy.
For one race.
Oh boy.
Broke even.
All right, so it was a long day.
Yeah, and I did not have the winner. Well, I don't think most people had the winner. So.
All right. Hey,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? But I do have good news for you. It seems as though you are off the count up here because you have provided the slide deck for the Secret Pineapple Rarities.
I did.
Cheering. Congratulations.
Thank you. When I get those count up possibilities, I got to get off as quick as I can. So unlike most everyone else out there.
Yeah, except I think Kyler and Pogs, who I feel like creates these intentionally to get off them.
Yeah. That sounds like a good transition.
Yeah. I mean, definitely some POG stuff going on.
Is this the POG Corner? Brought to you by POG Digital?
Yeah.
Okay.
POG Digital. I guess I am just blown away by the amount of drama within the POG ecosystem, I guess I'd say.
Okay.
Without us being a part of it. It's crazy to me.
Thought?
I know.
Well, the last time that last big one, they were trying to drag us down in with that.
Right, but that's different than us being part of it, right? We got name dropped, but that was about it. We didn't do anything.
Right. Okay, yeah. Tracking.
Yeah, but it seems like there was some people that were just, trying to use a position within the community to better themselves in certain ways, and that's just, I don't know. It's a shame that this is like the side of the stuff that you have to deal with. You want to think that people are just generally good and, trying to help each other out, and, turns to this, and then, yeah, it's just drama.
Has the drama been taken care of?
It seemed like it was because people got booted out of the Discord.
I'm so anytime I see a message in there, I look. I couldn't believe how much I didn't understand what the hell was going on.
Yeah, I think it was a little behind the scenes action that was going on for the most part that came out in the open after it was taken care of. But
okay, so
yeah,
it sounds like
unfortunate.
It's been dealt with, or it's been handled.
Yes, yeah. I believe it has been, and hopefully no more. But I know that there was an announcement recently. I believe that John Heater was on a POG cast, right? And talking about the new Tygon POG coming out, which should be coming out soon. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
But Did you happen to hear in there what the cost of the drop was going to be? I didn't. I
They
think I
said they
missed
weren't
that.
going to release it.
They said
And
they weren't going to release it.
yeah, and I don't know if that was both or singularly JTW or Kyler. But they said they weren't going to announce the price or the print run. Not print run, but you know what I mean. I guess you could
Yeah,
just
the
say
mint
print run.
amount. Yeah,
Yeah, the min
print
amount.
run. I mean, isn't it supposed to be this week?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's supposed to have been a lot of weeks, but
Yeah, it was supposed to be like February, right?
this week, I I think for show, but don't hold me to it.
Yeah, please don't. So I went on to Theta Drop just recently, and I noticed that Psycho KO is on the coming soon page.
Mm-hmm.
Looks
Yep.
like they got a drop coming. And so, just wanted to take a time to shout out happy birthday, Rob Feldman, of this past week.
And that was from both of us, obviously.
Absolutely. And the 10s and 10s on top of that.
Of
So
course.
all 12 of us.
22 of
22.
12 of us, yeah.
12 plus, yeah. It's kind of
Tens
late. I
and
can't do
tens.
math.
Okay.
So yeah, it got to be 22.
Yeah, what's going on still with our comic book thing? But
Not sure what's going on with our comic book thing at all. Hopefully that is going to be arriving here shortly. However, I did happen to see that this new drop is it's a Psycho KO series 2 action cards, and it's going to be coming with an NFT game called Pinball Peril.
ooh.
So shades of the actual Psycho KO comics.
Oh. I was obsessed with when I was younger is Space Cadet Pinball. Do you remember that game? It came like on all the Microsoft stuff.
Oh, yes.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. I think I have the highest score ever, but that's only what I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure that's accurate.
Dude, I
too.
played that hours and hours and hours.
I
Probably
think
back
that's
in the
the one
day
that I
when
used to play. Yeah.
probably back in the day when everyone had dial up but you couldn't get on.
Oof. Yeah.
Remember those days?
I'm kind of too young for that.
You're older than me.
So you must be way too young for that.
I'm not.
Yeah. No, I remember playing. There was definitely a pinball game that I used to play. I can't remember if that might be the same one. It definitely came like downloaded automatically, and there was a bunch of like different skins that you could use. Is that the same?
I don't remember different skins, but
No.
I
All right.
I did I don't even think they exist anymore. I had a keyboarding class in high school. Do you remember did you have anything like that?
Mavis Beacon.
Say what now?
Okay, it wasn't Mavis Beacon. Go ahead,
Who's
continue.
Mavis Beacon?
It's a keyboard class.
Oh, no, this was like a high school class called keyboarding. And
Interesting.
you learned how to position your hands and type. So, but usually we spend our time on pinball.
Of course. Why are you guys using the mouse so much?
I had like a 98 average in that class. It was a two quarter class. First quarter I had 98 average. Second quarter was pretty good. I don't remember what it was, but I never showed up to the final. 64 I got. So I
And for
failed.
those of you that don't understand, 64 is failing. 65 is a pass.
Yeah, that close.
That's going to leave a mark.
Yeah.
Ouch. So speaking of, we had some other drama this week. We had the winner of the Gen AI first Theta announced.
Uh-huh.
And prior to that, I didn't even really know this. Like you could create it and you go on there and you make an account and you post it. And that's as far as I went. I did that. But I didn't realize you could go on there and make accounts and vote on these things to see who would win, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I see a post from Camp Kyle, like, he's going off on this. Like, he made a cool one, the Edgezilla. I mean, it was definitely super cool. Looking through them, for sure, one of my favorite ones. And he seemed adamant to make sure that everything was on the up and up, because a Zilly Award winner got called out for multi-accounting and pumping some numbers here.
Yeah, and I hope the Zilly voters remember this as we get into Zilly Award season.
Yeah, it's really kind of a shame. Apparently there was 3 Justin.
Spaghettis,
Yeah, that
Passetti,
too.
Spaghetti. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. He,
So
and he's always like, "It's your boy." Just remember, Justin Passetti and Spaghetti cheated.
yeah, I mean, I don't understand why you go through those lengths to do that. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why not just put this thing on the blockchain then? And KY, everybody's got a Theta Drop account. You got a KYC through it. So why well, allegedly you have to KYC through it. I still see some of these like older accounts that are selling stuff that it's like, how is this happening? There's no way, our Pine friend that bought all those cans, won in a bunch of different accounts. There's absolutely no chance, unless he must have 10,000 cousins. But yeah, I mean, come on, make one account, vote once. Let's be on the up and up here. I think the right person won. So congratulations to Kyle. And he was actually going back and forth a little bit here, because he didn't really want Theta Drop to be able to take his creation and sell it on their marketplace, right? They're making money off of all these. If you haven't seen the recent sales lately, there's been a lot of secondary market action. Of course, they were giving these things away for 1 T fuel.
No, it was like 0.1, wasn't it?
Was it 0.1? Whatever it was. But they're making money on the secondary, and he was, he called them out for, making money on the secondary on his creation. So it kind of begs the question, who owns that IP, right? Is it is it the person that put the prompt in? Is it Theta?
Well,
Or is it Stable Diffusion? Because as he was told, they can rescind their rights, give the rights to him, but Stable Diffusion could claim them at any time.
who the hell is Stable Diffusion?
I believe that is the service that they're using to generate these AIs.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is, but also I think I've mentioned I've watched this YouTube thing about different rights for NFTs and what they. I can only speak to the U.S. law interpretation, but I mean, who's challenging what? Not me, but you can't like copyright or own something that was computer generated, I believe, or not taken by like the picture was generated with nothing to do with the human. So like there was this thing with a monkey, took a selfie of himself. He took a picture of a camera on himself. The guy tried to copyright it, but he didn't take it. The monkey did, and the monkeys don't have any rights to copyright protection. So that and I think computer generated things. So,
But what if it's your monkey?
yeah, I don't know. I'm no lawyer though. I defer to I defer to anyone else but me. But that's just what I think.
It also makes me wonder, you look at these things, and one of them that I happened to open was Rick and Morty. And it's like, it's called Rick and Future Morty or something like that. And it is an obvious Rick and Morty, like actual characters in like a Simpsons type of atmosphere setting.
Well, no, it's like in a Rick and Morty type setting.
No, it is definitely Simpsons. You can read the whole
Okay.
thing that they put in.
All right. I'm not gonna. But,
That would take 30
but
seconds.
the funny thing is with Rick and Morty is when Rick and Morty came out, um it was called like I don't know if it was like The Adventures, but it was Doc and Marty, and it was based off of like Marty McFly and Doc Brown, and they had to change that because it was too close to Back to the Future. And you can go back and look. Anyone can use the Google or the Yahoo or whatever. Um, and it was changed. So now all of a sudden you have Rick and Morty themselves changed their name to avoid copyright, and now AI's just stealing that, and nobody has an issue with it. So
Well, I mean, I think this is kind of shady to be selling. And if you look at it, there was one that was sold for $159, and then another one that was sold for 1,111 T Fuel.
wow.
So that's
You were telling me there was a challenge tonight.
dude.
I
Yeah,
don't know if it was tonight, but you were telling me tonight of a challenge on Theta Drop.
yeah. There's a challenge, and it seems like a pretty easy one. All you have to do is collect all 177 of these things that were given away
Wow.
to get this collage Gen AI Series 1 Master Collector. And so far, there have been 2 that have successfully completed the challenge, which blows my mind.
And the most it could be is 51.
Correct.
Because there's
Yes,
yeah,
there's 51
math,
of each. Yeah.
right. But it's going to be far less than that, obviously.
I'm surprised there's 2.
I'm surprised there's one.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But that looks like it's leading to a plethora of sales of a free NFT.
Yep.
And then you have all these other 177 people that aren't getting any secondary sales.
All right, man. Well, listen, I think they've heard enough from us, and we had an awesome time this week with a guest from POG Unlimited, the art director, Brent, and we had a sit-in from Natalie. Didn't hear much from her, but she was around and helped guide us through this process. So thank you, Natalie. And you can hear more. Well, you can hear that entire interview
After these messages.
Poppin's popping and locking. Magnum scrutinizing. Papa Max Podcast.
And we are here with Brent, the art director for both POG Digital and the 90s brand POG Unlimited. Brent, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. Excited.
So tell me, Brent, how did you get involved with POGs?
How did I get involved? Well, besides if we're going to leave out the fact that I had them when I was a kid, like a lot of people my age did, what happened was I was looking for brands online that had nostalgia to them, and I have other businesses, and sometimes I will go looking for old brands to sort of see if there's a way that I can be involved or get licensing deals and stuff like that. And I've done that with brands like Jolt Cola and other things. So I stumbled across POG's website. All they had was a landing page, not much else. And then that led me down a rabbit hole to find out that they were active on Twitter. And then that obviously led me to find out about POG Digital. And I must have caught them right at the beginning of their sort of launch of POG Digital. This was probably April 2022. And I reached out just saying, hey, my name is Brent. I'm an illustrator for brands that you might know, things like Star Wars and Garbage Pail Kids. I noticed that you're doing something with POG. I remember the brand. I love the brand. And if there's anything I can do to help out with that, then please let me know. And then I got a DM back within, I think, a day or so. And so Kyla, who is the CEO, said, hey, let's have a discussion. And I think it was purely probably good timing. And then on, the benefit on their side is that I have experience in commercial artwork. So I was able to sort of come in without, already knowing how sort of, I guess, licensing and stuff works.
Sure, that's cool. And I did see your bio here. You got quite a few big names on there. Probably my favorite of all of them would be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, taking me back in time.
Oh, yeah.
Which brand of the turtles are we talking? Are we talking like, because I feel like there's been so many iterations of them, and some are not as good as the others.
Right. So the project that I did with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was for the Eastman and Laird, the original black and white comic books. So they had their They had their 30th anniversary a few years back. This is probably 2017, 18, 19 was their 30th anniversary. And the trading card brand, baseball card brand Topps, had a commemorative trading card release for that anniversary. And I did a 40 or 50 hand-drawn pieces of artwork for that trading card project. So they send me blank trading cards. Then I would sketch on those characters from the comic books and then send them back. And then they would get fed randomly into packs of cards. And you could find those at Walmart and hobby shops and stuff.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
My personal favorite version of the Turtles was when I was growing up was the Saturday morning cartoon, which is the and the Archie
Yeah.
comics. You know, those are really the ones that I grew up on, and I obviously love the movies from the 1990s and stuff. The Eastman Laird comics, I guess they were probably like a I guess you would call them like a young adult comic, or an adult comic for back in the day. And so I was probably a little bit too young for that. So like a lot of things, I sort of caught on to the kids version as a kid and then got to discover those things back again later. Just the same with Ghostbusters. I was too young for the Ghostbusters movie.
Was that the one, those old comics? Was that the one where they all had like red bands and they didn't have their own colors?
Correct.
Or-
Yeah. So that's the old black and white comics, and then when the color covers, they all had red bands, and you could only tell them apart really from their weapons. Yeah. So that was the aesthetic for the job that I did for them.
And I just want to, if Popper gets to hop in, and I get to hop in too about this. But can you tell me a little bit about the Garbage Pail Kids?
I can tell you a lot about Garbage Pail Kids. It's one of my favorite
Please
things.
do.
I got my first job with Topps doing Star Wars. I was doing some work with The Force Awakens. That was in 2017, and I have always loved Garbage Pail Kids. In Australia, they were called the Garbage Gang. They were slightly different, but the same artwork, because we don't call them Garbage Pails here. We call them the bin or the trash, trash. So the garbage pail isn't really a term that we use here. And so I've always loved them since I was probably 6 or 7 years old. And when I got the job doing Star Wars with Topps, my first mission was to work as hard as I could to try and get on board with Garbage Pail Kids because I just love the characters. So that happened. There's no sort of crazy story about how I got on board with that. But since then, I've done thousands and thousands of pieces for Topps for Garbage Pail Kids. And to this day, it's still one of my favorite things to work on. I'm currently doing something for Garbage Pail Kids now. So yeah, I love it to bits. I think the characters are so cool and they're just so simple and yeah.
Yeah, I only remember the older ones. I must have got them from my brothers. But is Adam Bomb the best? Is that the best of the best?
Of course, yes. He's the one who fetches the most. If I do a piece of original artwork and I do Adam Bomb, he's that's going to probably get 30% more in value than anything else, any of the other characters that I do, just because he's so
Frankie's got to be up there though, right? Right,
Oh,
Frankie.
there is some diehards. Every character has its diehard fans, and so the artists, get these people who will hire us for commissions in between the official jobs. And certainly I've done some Cranky Frankies and some Messy Tessies and some Nasty Nicks and those sort of things. But it comes back around to Adam Bomb. I actually was fortunate enough to meet the guy who owns the original painting of Adam Bomb, and it's worth it's probably a $500,000 painting now. So it's
But but that would be the original of, I don't know what the alter ego is, because wasn't there always an A and B version of the
Blasted
card?
Billy. Yeah, Blasted Billy was his
Gotcha.
B name. Yeah, A name and a B
Okay.
name. Yeah.
Popper, you knew that, right?
Of course, I knew that. Yeah, no, it's funny because Mags and I are both collectors, but we never collected the same things until we got into NFTs. I came from like the sports cards world, where Mags is like every other kind of collector card, the ones that actually had value these days.
Yeah, I'm a huge trading card collector. I collect in Australia basketball. NBA basketball was huge in the 90s. It was around the world. We never really had baseball and American football. But yeah, like trading cards is still today my weakness. I don't know what it is about pieces of cardboard with images on them. They just I don't know, it just reminds me of being 10 years old or 6 years old again. Yeah, it's my favorite thing. I think it's still so cool that people hold a value in them, you know, a printed image on a piece of cardboard that there's such value held in it. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly feel like the NFT and kind of collectible world could have learned a lot from baseball cards in the late 80s. You know, they were like, as soon as I started collecting them, they just got minted like into oblivion. And
Right.
because of that, they basically have no value anymore. I think it was like 1988 or 1986 or something like that is when the mint just wouldn't stop. So before that, it's amazing. You can see like, you know, the price of cards is up, and then all of a sudden, you know, my dad gets me into it, and it's like every other kid that year must have got into it. Like the '88 top set, I remember I had the full thing, and I'm going through and like, you know, one through whatever it was, and got all of my cards, and I loved it. I spent a ton of time and got the Beckett's and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
Now they're probably pretty much worthless.
Well, now that they called it junk wax, didn't they? Junk wax, because there were just so much of it made that it became essentially junk. And
Yep.
even to this day, you know, you're talking about 30 to 40-year-old boxes of baseball cards that you would think that something that had survived 40 years would be worth a lot of money, but unfortunately, they just made so many of these cards that you can still buy a full unopened box of 88 tops. I mean, I would imagine for, you know, under $50, which is
Yeah,
pretty
probably.
pretty crazy to
Well,
think,
but
you know?
the
Yeah.
the other thing though, Popper, though, is the internet wasn't like a thing back then. So you just had the weekly or monthly or whatever guides to tell you what the prices were of these things. And then once the internet came out and people started selling them, so much stuff just the price just got crushed on so many collectibles because they're like, oh, it wasn't as rare or as special as they thought. Because I used to collect the new Star Wars toys, and of course I didn't open them because that was I was like too young to uh, keep them sealed from the 80s. So it's like, oh, here's my chance really to get in Star Wars, but that's what everyone else did too. And
Yep.
then there used to be a huge market, and then all of a sudden everyone just realized that no, they just made a shit ton of these things, and they're just millions of them out there.
Absolutely. I kept a lot of that stuff as well. So I collected this Star Wars toys like you did in the mid-90s, 93, 94,
Yep.
95. And I had the opportunity maybe 4 or 5 years ago to buy 2 gigantic collections, and where I was paying $2 for a carded figure. So I have a wardrobe, like a large wardrobe in a spare bedroom at home that has hundreds and hundreds of sealed Star Wars figures from the 90s. And you know what? They're still not worth a lot, but they're worth more than the $2.50 that I paid for them. They're probably getting up to the sort of the $5 to $10 mark. And then depending on which one, because if you were a hardcore kid back then, you know, you would have known about the short lightsabers and the long lightsabers and all
Oh
the things
yeah.
that and so some of those do actually hold some real value. So I mean, if you've got the space and you can commit to sort of keeping something for 5 or 10 years, I mean, it's everything is gonna have its time again. There is a point, and I've as someone who's collected both the vintage Star Wars toys from the '70s and '80s and then the '90s stuff as well, you gotta consider as well that the guys who were kids in 1977, they're getting to an age now where they're trying to have less stuff. They're putting kids through college, they're, you know, trying to pay down mortgages and things like that, and so the what happens is the market for some of those vintage collectibles hits its peak and then starts to sort of trail down, and that will happen. And then as people who, you know, let's say are our age and are looking to get some of their childhood back, then you'll see the value of our stuff start to creep up. And I saw that in video games as well, where everyone wanted an NES when retro games were a big thing. Everyone wanted an NES, and GameCube and Nintendo 64 really didn't have any value. And then it over a period of 5, 6, 7 years, then now you will see that people don't want an NES as much, and that the GameCube and the N64 are now quite expensive. And so it literally follows the cycle of people's age and just what is hitting them at the moment, which I guess comes back to POG as well. POG is at that sweet spot right now where if you played POG when you were a kid, you're probably now in your sort of 30s to 40s, and maybe you have a bit of spare cash, or you have some in a room in your house where you want to have some things that you had as a kid, and that's where that market opens up, is that people are finding stuff to stick on their shelf to get a piece of the childhood back.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. So can you tell us what kind of artwork have you been doing with POG? Were you involved with like some of the original NFT collections or more
Yeah.
the actual milk caps?
Right. So no, the milk cap stuff is very recent. So the I started virtually pretty much everything that POG Digital has put out to this day. I've had my hands on in some regard. So with the Founders Collection, we were supplied with I think it's 13 images of vintage POG images that had been sort of semi remastered, and then my job was to work with the team to figure out how do we turn this into something that's generative, and turn this into the first collection. So having to go through and going, cool. Well, what if Pogman had sunglasses and shoes and all these things that we ended up putting in, and that was sort of such a huge learning curve for all of us, really, like learning how that side of NFTs works, and how to get it so that um things don't clash with each other layers, so that you can have, he can have a hat and sunglasses and shoes and a jacket, and it all works together without sort of clashing. And so that was really interesting. And then after that, it got easier. So everything that POG Digital has done from the Pogman sense, so that goes for any of the commemoratives, the Founders Collection, the original PFP, the POG Champ PFP that was part of the physical boxes, but then also the Happy Meal box, which was the redemption, anything that was packaging, like pretty much almost literally anything that they've done to this point, I've had some sort of dealing with. So yeah, I guess in that sense, I'm in charge of sort of utilizing Pogman and making sure that he still sort of fits into that world. With the ETH collection, I did some formatting and stuff. So that collection featured a lot of other NFT artwork, stuff from Jack Butcher and such. So, like, in those cases, I was in charge of sort of making him scale and fit and add some formatting and some other things to it. So, yeah, but almost everything I've been involved with.
Is it the same story with the POG Unlimited and some of the collaborations that the actual physical milk caps are doing?
Sure. Well, I mean, that's relatively new. So the stuff that POG Unlimited is doing is, right now we're currently in production and working within this new product called the Hobby Box. It is essentially, it's the first time that POG Unlimited has got into the I guess what you would call serious collector side of things. And before that, they'd really had a couple of tester things, and they facilitated the some help with the production of the Pogger box, the Series One. But as far as like Pog Unlimited having a full release, this is the one that we're working on now is the new one. Being able to go back, and I got to review and approve the artwork that's being used on the milk caps. I made some edits to a handful of those, and really my work was involved where we had to incorporate rarity and incorporate these sort of sports card like things into it. So having low numbered parallels and having bonus prizes in the boxes and stuff like that. But yes, although it's relatively new, I have had a hand on most of it.
Is putting together the collection digitally similar to putting together a collection physically as far as the artwork?
It's easier physically because I don't need to consider having hundreds or thousands of variations of things. So, when it comes to the digital side, sometimes we'll have an image a vintage image that exists that is a great image, but it doesn't lend itself to being able to convert into 1,000 variations of itself. And so when it comes to the more recent NFTs, we've been able to break the image apart. So with the Founders Collection, Pogman wasn't separate from the background of the NFT. So we really had to work with all of the layers sort of being mashed together, whereas now we get to break it apart and it gets a lot easier. But yeah, in a sense, the physical stuff it's much easier in the sense that, we just need to pick one really cool image and print a bunch of them rather than have, pick a really cool image and then figure out how to make 500 or 1,000 different versions of that image.
Gotcha, that makes sense. And I just wanted to take it back real quick. Mags what jumped to the garbage pail kids.
Oh,
First of all, I don't call it a garbage pail either. Do you call it a garbage pail, Mags?
I don't. I don't.
I'm not sure where garbage pail came from.
I
Um,
yeah. I'm sure it could be called that.
it could be, but I did want to bring it back again quick. That's not what I was going back to. I noticed that you have Stranger Things on your resume, and I don't know if you are aware of the Sheriff Popper character.
Oh, yeah. Is that David Harbour's character?
So it's the pineapple version of Sheriff Hopper, right? So
Right.
that's so yeah, so the custom pineapple that I have is the version of Sheriff Hopper. So I thought that was kind of cool to see you had Stranger Things on there.
Yeah. I did 3 jobs for Stranger Things. I did series 1, series 2, and another series that came out called Welcome to the Upside Down. And yeah, really good. A lot of restrictions on those. Another, one thing, unlike POG, where I get to deal with the brand owners directly, I've got a lot more freedom. When you're dealing with movie and TV studios, there's a lot of rules and a lot of guidelines about things you can and can't do, and certain actors don't like to be drawn. Certain actors need to have personal approval of their likeness, and others just go through their management. So as much as I love doing those kind of jobs, a lot of it is reading and making sure that I'm not going to waste half a month drawing things that are going to get rejected by, an actor who has an inflated ego.
Yep. So can you give us a little peek behind the curtain at what exactly you're working on currently?
Yeah. So currently, when it comes to POG, I'm currently working again through the. So we're working through the marketing stage of the hobby box. So that takes up quite a bit of time. We're doing some fun stuff like getting people to show POGs in different countries around the world, and then turning those photographs into memes, which is great, and giving some community exposure to that brand. So there's that. I've got at least one other major project that I'm doing with POG Digital, which is sort of in early stages at the moment. And I know that the team at POG Digital are about to release 3 or 4 things that I'm not involved in. On the other side of stuff, I'm currently working on a project for Star Wars, a high end collector product, which I can't say the name of, but it's pretty prestigious. I'm doing some work for Garbage Pail Kids at the moment. I'm also doing. Sorry, I've got to think about how I say this because I'm doing something for DC Comics at the moment, which hasn't started yet, and I'm doing 2 things for them. And I've been offered some jobs that I had to turn down, which were a shame, because they were also very big brands. So there's the wheels are constantly turning, on the art side. But yeah, at the moment, Garbage Pail Kids, Star Wars, and a couple of jobs for DC Comics.
Well, you sound like a pretty busy guy. Mags happened to send me this prior to the recording, and it's the first time I saw it. The hobby box that you're talking about, you can find it on shop.pogdigital.com. I'm assuming that's the one you're talking about.
Yes, it is. Yeah, yeah. So that's the box. The first time that POG Unlimited has produced a product that is aimed directly at the actual collector. So what you'll get in these boxes is not just something that you can uh, not just something that you can play as a game, which you can certainly do, but also something that has collectible aspect to it. So inside of the box, and I'll list off some of the things that you can find inside these boxes. Some of the things that you'll find in this box, again, harken back to stuff like sports cards and the adult collectors and sports cards. So you will be able to get packs that have the caps and slammers in them that you can play as the game, and they meet all the same specifications as the vintage product. So you can mix your new pogs with your vintage pogs, slammers, and so on, and they'll all work together, which is great. On top of that, we'll have things for the first time is numbered parallels. So these are short printed pogs with different colored foils on them, and these are numbered to 99, 499, and 799. So this is an interesting one for us because this will be the first time I believe that a POG milk cap will be stamped with a serial number, 1 of 99, 2 of 99, and so on and so forth. And so this is going to, for the person who collects, who is in this space, in the collector space, but also remembers POG, this gives them the ability to have something that's like truly quite rare. On top of that, once we got on the bandwagon of things like serial numbering, we started to add that to everything. So there are these mini posters that you can get in these boxes as well. So they're like a small fold out poster with different designs on them with Pogman, and all of those posters are numbered as well. It goes from being not just a piece of paper that you can hang on your wall, but something that you want to get framed. We have multiple levels of different slammers. So we have the traditional sort of plastic Keeney slammer, which you would have gotten in the boxes in the 90s. Then there is a metal version of that as well, which is pretty rare, and that'll come on a separate blister pack, which was an idea that we had. I thought was really cool, was that rather, because it's not something that you may want to play with. So it'll come on its own separate blister with all the numbering information on it. Then there'll be a 22 karat gold leafed version, and that leafing is done by a highly renowned gold leaf artist out of France. She works with royalty, works in vintage buildings, restoring things, and so she has hand leafed 430, I believe, of these slammers with 22 karat gold leaf. Those are interesting. I think it'll be really interesting to see where they sit in the collectible landscape. And then there'll be a digital collectible as well. And again, those will be extremely limited. I think again only about 430, and that is something that I'm also working on currently. So you'll be able to get metal slammers, gold leafed slammers, NFTs, posters, serial numbered parallels. There's all kinds of things to sort of chase in this box. And like I personally, it's a bit of a personal achievement for me to take a brand that I worked that I loved as a kid, and then not be able to just work with them like I work with Tops doing artwork, but actually to have a hand on the physical production. So everything on this, from the design on the box, the design on the wrappers, the designs on the pogs, and the rarity structures, and the designs on everything within it. I was able to have my hand on a lot of that, which was just a dream come true, really. So yeah, I'm personally, it's not just it's a personal sort of achievement for me. I think it's great.
So you get a box, right? But if you get a case, so it seems like all of this stuff that is available can be in any given box, but is also guaranteed to be in at least one box within a case, right? So your gold slammer, if you buy one box, you could get lucky and get it, but if you buy a case, you're guaranteed to get it.
Exactly.
Same thing with the digital one.
Exactly right. And so the way that it was being engineered, and the reason why some of the numbers are unusual, so 430 is an unusual number, but when you're involved in the production of this, it's actually not, because it's been engineered to have not just a hit per box. A hit in trading card terms means, something special, but not just to have a hit per box, but then also to have case incentives. So the incentive is that you can buy a box, and like you said, there's a chance that you could get any one of those things in that box. And theoretically, your chances of getting a gold leaf slammer out of a single box is 1 in 12. That's like how many is in a case. So, but as is in the baseball card world, people will buy a case to guarantee that they get each one of those things. And for us, it was like a matter of making sure that for the people who did lay down, $1,200 or whatever, $1,400 for a case, which is a significant amount of money, that they got the maximum amount of value out of that. And that also gives them plenty of leftover to be able to trade or to flip or to to on sell and so on and so forth. So yeah, there's a reason why some of the numbers seem strange, and the reason is because we didn't want to have too much product that didn't have any value in it.
So now you called it a Keeney slammer?
Yeah, that's so is the traditionally it's called a Keeney. When it comes to the World POG Federation, it's called a Keeney. But the slang term that's being used for 30 years is slammer, right? And so this time around it was sort of talking between myself and Julian was like, well, maybe we should just call it a Keeney slammer so that there's no confusion about what it is, since that is the given sort of term that people use for it. But essentially, yeah, it is a Keeney and a slammer together. It's the same thing.
So now is that similar to what came in the physical box? Those like the red ones, the ones that were redeemable?
Yes. So you will get one of those per box, guaranteed, just a regular plastic one. Then the metal one, the aluminium one or the gold one, those will be made of metal.
Right. And those are one per case ish.
The gold for sure is, I think, one per case. The aluminium one, the odds may be slightly different. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but yeah, it's guaranteed at least one per case. But I think the aluminium one, the odds might be slightly better on that one. You might get a couple.
Okay. I was just curious because I did get one of those redeemables, and I believe that there was a Keeney in every single pack.
Correct. Yeah, it's a different configuration.
Okay.
Right? So yeah. So this one, the Keenies they won't be the same design. There'll be different designs than what you've known before. But again, because this is more of a collector-based project, it doesn't require the need to have 10 or 12 of the same Keeny in the box. And because we're adding in these extra things as well. So although it says there's one Keeny per box, by the time there's a chance that you'll get more than that anyway, just with the extra hits.
Popper.
Yes, sir.
I was thinking about buying 11. What do you think? Think that's bad odds?
11 cases?
No, well, just no 11 boxes.
Well, you can get 10 for the price. You can get 12 for the price of 10 right now.
9 then. What do you think? No?
I think that'd be silly.
Yeah.
You should do it.
Yeah.
The odds that and that is the benefit though, right? Is that, even if you did buy 2 boxes or 3 boxes, I mean, those are still pretty good odds that you're going to get some good stuff in there. I mean, I think it may work out that almost every box in a case has something in it that would be, considered like a fairly hard chase to get. It's just that, yeah, you won't get every single one of those things. But yeah, the case is really for the people who want to get everything. They want to have one gold, at least one gold, one aluminium, one regular, and have a chance of putting together, the complete set along with at least one each of all the parallels.
Yeah, that was a joke though.
Of course.
I was thinking first I was saying like so I was on the website. I was like, "Oh, I'll just get one." And then I go, "Well, if I get one, then wouldn't I want one to keep sealed?" And then I go, "Well, if I don't get maybe something I'm looking for in that one, well then I'm going to go in the one, so maybe I should buy 3." So I'm there between 2 and 3 actually right now.
Oh,
and then that might change.
100%. And you know what, that was honestly, that was part of the discussion. The reason why I'm involved in this and not just sort of like, not just doing the art on the NFT side, but the reason I'm involved in this is because I've been a collector of this sort of thing forever. Like, it was me who came in and said, look, you need to consider that there are people who will never open these boxes, that there are people who are going to buy it. Like you said, three is a really common number, especially in trading card world, where you're like, well, I'll open one, I'll keep one sealed, and if I don't get what I like out of the one that I opened, then I'll open the second one, and then I still get to keep one sealed. And so part of the reason why, you know, these collectible things have a market that goes up and down is because so much sealed product is kept. And as people are looking for those items that have a really low print run, the more sealed product that is kept, the more value that those will hold. Because I guess it's like, for every one that doesn't get opened, that's you know, for someone who might be trying to complete a set, it's going to be harder for them to complete that set. And so, yeah, that is totally logical thinking, to have like one that you keep sealed on a shelf, you know, hold on to that as a bit of an investment. And you know, and for some people it'll be an entire case. You know, for some people I know at least one person who I believe is buying a case to keep stashed away, and then just buying a couple of loose boxes to open. You know, just because they can see, just the way that you may, if you're into sports cards, the way you might have seen sort of 2019 NBA Panini Prism, which was Zion Williamson's rookie year. You know, those now they don't hold that value because of the way that the player is playing, but there were people who were holding on to so much sealed stock of that product that this box that retailed for $300 was sometimes going for $3,000 and $4,000 a box, because it was just so hard to get hold of. And so, you know, again, and that comes in with this POG product as well. We're only making 5,100 boxes. That's such a small amount, really, considering the POG was popular in almost every country on earth in the 90s. We're relatively new to even promoting the brand again, you know, for people to know that POG is still around, especially if you're not in the Web3 space, in the NFT world. It's brand new that POG is back with this new product. And at $120 a box or something, you know, compared to other hobby collector product like baseball and other sports, it's reasonably priced as well, especially for something that is of such a short production run. You know, 5,000 boxes, 5,100 boxes. That's a ridiculously small amount, and it actually costs POG Unlimited more to make these boxes because of how little we're producing. So in actual fact, it's actually less cost effective for us to make a smaller amount of boxes. But the whole purpose of this is it's supposed to be for the collectors, for the people who are sort of really early back into this and who find out about it. And you know, we're hoping that people hold on to sealed stuff. We're hoping that people, you know, will pop it on the secondary and sort of see where the market for POG is, like how relevant is it today.
I wish there was like a live shot of my head of how many boxes I want, because now I want to get even more after hearing that. And we will be right back.
This week's episode is brought to you by Dr. Theta's Community Guardian Node. Theta's premier community guardian node, where you can stake your Theta if you don't run your own guardian node. Best of all, 100% uptime, so you do not miss any rewards, and 0 fees, so you earn 100% of your T-Fuel. Trusted by Theta Labs, you can easily stake directly within your wallet. Simply go to the Staking tab, choose Delegated Guardian Node, and find Dr. Theta's Guardian Node. Quick, simple, reliable, and best of all, safe, as the coins never leave your wallet. Stake with the Doc today. This week's episode is brought to you by GuardiansOfTheta.com, offering 0% one-click Theta Guardian staking with random monthly token giveaways. Guardians also airdropped everyone staking with him an NFT that you're able to stake and earn T-Vibe. 100% uptime, 0 fees, random giveaways, what's not to love? Stop paying 4% and come join the fam with Guardians of Theta.
Papa Max, yeah. Papa Max. Papa Max Podcast. Papa Max Podcast.
I was actually just about to ask you guys, because I saw that it was 5,100 boxes. It didn't seem like that much.
No.
Do you think this is gonna be, like, the second generation, like, OG POGs? Like, how do you envision this? Is there gonna be more like this in the future after this is sold out?
Well, this is the proof of concept, right? And so the collection, the images that are used in this collection, they are images that you've probably seen before on Pogs. You know, these are the 2024 counterpart to ones from the 90s. And so the way it's been put to me and to Natalie and Kyla and all the team is that essentially we want to come out of the gate really swinging with this, you know, extremely low production run, high amount of value in it. And if it really takes off and people come in and find and if we find that there's this newfound popularity for it, then yeah, absolutely. Like it's already been discussed that we will move on to working pre-production on something else. There is another a couple of products that are coming out adjacent to the hobby box, which I can't talk about. But there is the hobby box, which is the extremely limited version, and then there is something else that's coming out with it, which will be announced at a later date. Mags,
Yes,
yes,
I'm back.
I want to
Yeah,
hear the
I don't
story
know.
about. I want to hear the story about the magic cards.
Where did I leave off?
Well, you just said
Pretty
all
much
I
at
got.
Magic Cards.
Yeah, you
Oh
said
man.
I'm a collector of Magic the Gathering, and that was it.
Oh yeah. Uh, I'll try to do a. I'll try to make it. I'll try to shorten it up and so you could hear it. But so I've been collecting vintage Magic cards for a while because I played when I was younger, and some of the old boxes and just those old cards in the old boxes and the old uh, sealed packs or whatever. The prices are insane because once, like you said, once they're opened up, that amount is always going to go down. It's not going to go up, and so there's scarcity there. So what they started doing in the newer Magic stuff is they would put chase cards in a case, and a case would be six boxes. Not 100%, not guaranteed, but usually if you get a case, you're guaranteed almost at least one chase card. So what I would do is occasionally buy a case and then hope to get it in the first or second box, get it, and then I could sell the other boxes, which which is a strategy, and just holding it and but yeah, 5100 is really small.
It is. It is a really short supply, and it's deliberately it's that way. It's to sort of see how we know that POG has fans from the digital side for sure. That there is this fan base of people who are into POGs, but there are some things we don't know whether the NFT collectors translate over to the physical collectors. But then there's also the people who collected POGs 30 years ago who may still collect sports cards today. And when they find out that there is this sort of limited run non-sport POG collection that's coming out, then that may influence some new sort of market activity as well. And so, yeah, absolutely. Like exactly like you said, they Magic or Wizards of the Coast who make Magic the Gathering, they knew exactly what they were doing by making these chase cards like a case hit, meaning that why make $6 off someone buying a pack when you can make $100 off someone selling a box? But why make $100 off a box when you can sell $1,000 in a case? And the benefit to the collector is that chase card that is a case hit, because of the investment that was required in getting it. That I would imagine, and I'm not a Magic the Gathering collector, but I would imagine that chase card is significantly valuable, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So
Yep.
that's part of the fun. Part of the fun is this kind of, and you know what? It's also part of the fun of buying one box or two boxes. Is like you just don't know. Like I have bought in 2008, I bought a one box of Topps NBA basketball, and I got a LeBron James autographed card in that box. Now, that would have been a 100% like a case hit. It's the one, AAA top player autograph that would have been in that case, and I just happened to nail it. So the other 23 boxes that were in that case, would have had player autographs, but not of that level. And so, and that, you know what? And honestly, like this is not like a sales post for this, like the excitement is more when you kind of like beat the odds, like when you kind of you get something and you invested a little amount and then you beat the odds and got like the major thing. That excitement is even more, like it's a different kind of feeling. Like when you want something and you know that if you were to buy a case, you're going to get that thing. That's great because at least you know that you're not going to be disappointed from that point. But there's also this chance that there are going to be people who, just like with the NFTs, right? There are people who redeemed a POG champ or redeemed an NFT and just happened to just hit the big one, or at least hit something that was extremely rare, like a trait that was quite rare. So, and I would say that excitement is more even. This kind of like if you see something on the marketplace and you just buy it, you know what you're getting. There's no mystery to it. Whereas like if you can buy something and you don't know what you're getting and then somehow you hit jackpot, that's to me in the past when I've bought collectible products, and I've bought a blind pack or box and pulled the big one, like it's way more exciting.
Oh, absolutely.
When you go into this new market, you have people who it is their full-time job to flip on the secondary market. And so you get into things like weighing, and then you will get people who weigh packs of cards or weigh boxes of cards to see whether there's something in it that would not be in another box. But when it comes to the hobby box, there are things in those packs that are really short printed, really short run. And so, yeah, it was really important that the boxes be shrink sealed, and that was something that I said is kind of an important factor.
So just curious, I know that our friends, the Tigons, Order of the Tigons, have a POG drop coming out next week. Did you get to work at all with John Heater, a friend of the podcast?
No. I haven't had anything to do with the Tigons project at all, except for the slammer. So I designed the slammer that will be in that product, but otherwise I have not seen or had anything to do with that project, unfortunately. But John seems like a great guy, and I know that it's he's really digging in with the Tigons and obviously bringing back some of that stuff from Napoleon Dynamite. So I'm keen for it to drop and to see how people react to it and sort of like support it, and then it'll be really interesting to see those collectibles hopefully used within the game in the arcade as well.
Absolutely. Bring it in, Megs.
I agree with that last. I'm gonna enjoy editing this episode. Can we hear me? I see.
Yes.
Yes, we can
Yeah.
hear you.
Okay, I'm gonna enjoy editing this episode because there's a lot I didn't hear, but I don't even remember what I was gonna say. It wasn't that good, obviously.
So before we get all awkward and try to say goodbye, wanted to see if was there anything that we missed that you wanted to talk about?
Natalie's welcome to jump in if there's anything she feels like was missing. Otherwise, like, we covered the basics of the box. And like if there's any, obviously you guys are primarily like Web3 based content, right?
Web3 and cereal,
Yeah.
in general, food takes. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Well, I'm happy to answer questions like that if you want anything to do with cereal.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if there was anything else with POG Digital, you're welcome to ask. And again, I'm being genuine when I say that, I do handle the art side of stuff, but as far as the technical back end, that stuff, I'm not really involved much. So I don't have a lot of knowledge on the coin or the arcade or the platform or all the things. I don't have a lot of input on it. But yeah, I can try my best.
We covered everything that I wanted to. I'll just ask y'all later about what I can post because I was able to get some screen records, but I won't post anything until y'all publish it, and I can send you the clips beforehand.
Honestly, you can do
There's
whatever you
nothing.
want.
whatever you want.
Okay,
All I
well, I'll
want,
get all
all I want is a clip of Mags going like this. My audio. Like,
Yes.
I don't know that I got that one. That was such a bummer because I wanted to hear that story as well. But yeah, thank you.
Thanks
Yeah.
for setting this up. Definitely enjoyed it.
Sure.
And I
Absolutely.
learned a lot. I don't want to end it if y'all have more to say, but I learned so much about the collector's world that I didn't know about it. So I think it'll be good for the layman to listen to this episode.
Yeah, there'll be people. that
Honestly,
get-
that's our target.
Well,
'Cause that's what we are.
because nobody understands what the hell's going on with the show anyway, most of the time.
So Brent, give us an Australian food hot take. Is spam really that big down there? Are you a spammer?
No,
You're not.
Australian food is. We don't really have our own food, because we're all, descendants of criminals. So, we our when people come to Australia, if you want something like like a meat pie, which is kind of like a small, like, hold in your hand, like meat pie. I'm not sure if you even really. I've been to the States a bunch of times, but I can't say that I've ever seen one. Or like a sausage roll, which is like a sausage mince. No, not sausage mince. Yeah, I guess like wrapped in pastry. A lot of like hand foods, like stuff that you would just walk around and eat. But as far as like, stuff that you would say is like iconically Australian, the things I get asked the most are things like, "Do you eat kangaroo?" Yes, you can buy kangaroo at the grocery store. It's not next to the beef. It's like a special thing, and it's expensive, and and so on. But no, we don't have anything that's like iconically Australian, as far as I can.
Vegemite?
Yeah, Vegemite is like, again, like not everyone has it. It's this very salty sort of like spread that goes on toast, really thin. I was a guest at a convention in the States in 2019, and I took 100 catering sized serves of Vegemite with me and handed them out. And then had to sort of explain everything. Every time I gave one out, it had to come with like an instruction of like how to put it. Don't put it on too thick. You're gonna hate it if you do that. And it was fun. It's fun. Like, yeah, I guess Vegemite is, I guess, iconically Australian.
I was definitely just about to ask you if you eat kangaroo. So thank you. Have you ever had venison?
I haven't, but I have heard that it's similar. That it's
Okay.
very, very lean
Yep.
meat, and it's
Yes.
dark meat, and it's kind of like, well, I don't really know what gamey tasting really means, but we would say it's strong, as in that there's quite there's
Yeah.
quite a lot of to it versus like versus beef, like beef doesn't have a lot of, it's not a strong taste, whereas like kangaroo and would be this similar in the sense that it has like quite a strong flavor to it.
Interesting.
Only had it once. It's not like, we don't like eat it like that. It's sort of, you can get it if you want it, but it's, to be honest, kangaroo meat is usually more found in pet food because kangaroos are kind of a pest. They're like, Natalie has sort of like, asked if it's like deer, like, where something that you would see everywhere, and they're kind of cool, but also a little bit like annoying, because they're in the way sometimes, depending on where you live. Probably not so much in New York. But
No, they are. Well,
yeah.
I mean, not New York City, sure, but yeah, where
Yeah,
we are.
So you find kangaroo mince a lot, like minced kangaroo meat or diced kangaroo meat is a lot in like dog food and stuff, because I think it's cheap and it's readily available as far as like that goes. But when kangaroo that you buy for human consumption, they're not just the kangaroos that are jumping around near my house. They're ones that have been bred and farmed specifically for it. So those are really expensive.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, with venison here, you're only getting it if you get it yourself. You can't. It's not FDA approved, so there's not really a way to buy it in the market. You just got to get it yourself.
Right. Okay. Sure.
I don't think he knows what the FDA is, but government agency,
Yeah.
whatever, right?
3 letters.
Okay.
You can figure it out.
Okay.
I know what FDA is. That's fine. Yeah.
There you
It's like Is that Food and Drug Authority?
There you go.
No, it's
Administration.
administration.
But that's okay.
Administration.
Potato.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, Mags. Anything else?
No, unless you guys want to wait till I crap out again. But no, I appreciate you coming on.
Can't hear you. What'd you just say?
Oh, fuck, that was rough.
Well, I actually have to go record, but thank you all for your time and willingness to get this all set up.
Absolutely.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for the and
We look forward
Yeah.
to hearing.
Yeah.
make sure
Tuesday-ish.
tag.
Cool. Yes, please tag us. Okay,
All
y'all.
right, guys. Thank you so much,
Bye.
and we will
Bye.
you'll be hearing from us again.
Sounds good. Bye.
Awesome. Have a great night.
Papa Max Podcast.
You have been listening to the Pops and Mags Pinecast. Music provided by Sushi Cat. Like what you hear? Send that cat a very nicely worded compliment on Twitter at JustAddSpam. Pops and Mags is a Scumbag Hat production
in association with Pam's Day Spa.